scissor pizza.
What's up? Sheila and I got into it tonight. She threw me out.
You're fat as shit.
Yeah, you're fat as shit.
Out of the house party.
I'm not Mike Adamson.
Bother you that the casting robbers only took 7
Who eats like that, cat?
junkies? Who cares?
Insert cat video.
Junkie can go down a 20-story zip line. How you fellas doing?
What up, boys? I've been wanting to do this video for a while. Haven't gotten around to it, but the idea popped in my head today. Want to do a Q&A video. Now that the Del Sol runs and drives and, you know, is pretty much on its last leg towards the whole manual swap that we did, there's really not much for me to film of it right now at the moment. So I figured I'd make this video while we are in some downtime. So I asked you guys to ask me questions. I asked on Facebook and I asked on Instagram. So we can start with Facebook first. I'm gonna go through and pick the comments that make the most sense to talk about and yeah, talk about them. So I guess I'll start with this question. He threw down a shit ton of questions when I asked about this, but I'll just start with a few of them. He said, what cars have inspired you the most? Matt, the two cars that inspired me the most in terms of this thing, when I first got this Del Sol, Johnny Stolman from Boston, he had a Toyota Corolla and it was fully rusted and low and I thought it was sick. And I wanted to do that to this but make it my own as well at the same time. And then the second car, her name is Casey Valdez. Her Instagram is called EG2 Way Paradise, and she had a red Del Sol a few years back that had, you know, shark teeth in the front. And I kind of combined the two ideas into one car and then threw my own little spin on it at the same time. So I guess those are the two people that have inspired me the most out of building this car. So yeah. Why haven't you gone mad and put something like a B16 or an H22 or even a K20 in there? Really the only reason why is this car is stanced and it's low and I don't drive it fast and I don't see the big need to put a big power motor into it. The fact that the motor that I had ran and drove perfectly fine was just more the reason to keep it in the car and save myself the money. So I guess that's why I haven't put anything bigger into it. Not saying that I won't ever do that, but right now I don't see myself doing that. There's just no point. How many times do you get stopped a month by cops? I've been stopped by cops only 3 times in this car. Out of the 4 years I've owned it, only 3 times. And they were all for the same thing, and that's no front plate on the car. And they were all warnings, and every cop that pulled me over said, keep it in your windshield, so that's what I do. Weirdest / funniest comment you've had from a random person? I get a lot of weird comments and questions asked every day about either me or this car or whatever I do. I can't think of any off the top of my head that ring a bell, but I get a lot. just to say, if you had to build a non-Honda, what would it be and why, and what would you do with it? I would do I'd probably do an LS400, to be honest.
That's not what I said.
I'm not building an SRT, Steven. It would have to be an LS400. I love those cars, especially when they're VIP'd out and they look super good. I love those cars. So if I was to do anything around the same budget that I have right now, it would probably be an LS400. What inspired you to make films or pictures? ever since I was like 12 or 13, I've always been big into YouTube. I've always been making videos, whether it was me messing around in my backyard with my friends or just the random ideas that I had when I was younger. I've always been involved into YouTube. I know before I did car films and automotive stuff like this, I was making Call of Duty videos. A lot of people actually start off like that, which I find is funny. And I still get a couple messages every now and then asking about Call of Duty and like the older videos I made. They're still on my channel. If you scroll down, you'll see them. They're way back. But I started out doing that, and then I went to high school and I went to a trade school or a vocational school, and the shop that I had was design and visual, which was photography, graphic design, video, and I excelled on the video side, not so much the graphic or the photography side. Video was like really where I found my niche. I was doing really well in the class, and I was doing work that the teacher would ask me to do. You know, aside from school, he would come to me with projects that he's doing himself that I would help him with, and I still talk to him today, which is cool. After that, I mean, it was just history after that. I just found love for filming, and it's an art, and I love doing it. And I don't think I'll ever stop doing it. It is a career of mine, and I've chosen it to be my career. After I got out of high school, I went to film school for a year and graduated May of 2016, and ever since then I've been doing weddings and the car stuff and all the car films and features and shows and all that stuff, and I love it so much, and I don't think I'll be stopping anytime soon. Why didn't you swap to a B series, and why did you keep the D15 instead of swapping into a D16? Again, it's just the motor that I had. It was running strong when I pulled it in, and I didn't feel like, you know, tearing the motor out and getting rid of it. You know, I wanted to save money and make what I had work, so that's what I did with that. What was one of the funniest moments with Tommy and Chris? One of the funniest moments that I had with Chris and Tommy, all right, well, here's with Chris. I was filming for him in New Jersey at Club Loose, and it was nighttime, and we were leaving the track, heading back to our hotel, and we were getting beer and we were getting all this stuff, and it was super fun, and I love his friends. His friends are super funny, and it was just a riot driving through New Jersey with them all in the car, just, you know, yelling and screaming and being funny, and that was like one of my funniest like moments that I remember from then. That and going off-roading in the Forester and getting chased by that old guy. That was funny too. I was considering not posting this and just doing general comments, but since I posted this publicly, all my friends are commenting on this now and saying really stupid stuff. Mikey Osowski comments, how many Monster Energy drinks have you consumed? Way too many. And who cuts your hair at Supercuts? Don't go to Supercuts. I have a barber. And weenie length, we'll not discuss that. I don't want to make you jealous. All right, that's enough for Facebook. Let's dive into Instagram here. Grant Larson asks, what made you want to get into videography? Again, touching on the same thing that I answered a little bit already on, is just I've always been interested in video, and I've been doing it for so long. It's always been a passion of mine, and to be able to turn a passion into a career that you love and enjoy is something that I am truly thankful for. What made me get into it? I guess just the whole art aspect of it, I find, you know, a lot of the things that you can do with film are so beautiful and cinematic, and I love to be able to create those things myself and see myself progress as a filmer from where I started to the knowledge that I've learned and the skills that I've taken on. I can't remember when the movie came out, but I remember when Avatar came out, the movie Avatar, and I remember watching it with my family in the movie theater, and I remember the way that it made me feel, and the movie like moved me really hard, and for days after watching the movie, it was just like the movie moved me. And I mean, that's what movies are supposed to do. They're supposed to move you and make you feel a certain type of way, and it made me feel that way. And ever since then, it was like, that is what I want to do, and I want to be able to move people and make people feel some type of way. I don't know if you felt that way watching my videos, but if you have, thank you. If not, I hope to make you feel that way at some point. Have you ever considered trading or selling the Del Sol? I've thought about it. Every now, as a car person, when you're done with your car, or you get to a certain point where it's like, what the heck can I do to it now? I've done so much to this car that the thought has come into my head if I should start with something else and start something new, or hang on to it and figure out other things to do to it. And I guess it all comes down to, would I want to see someone else driving this and not me? And right now I have to say no. I still love this car, and I plan on keeping it for now. But at some point in my life, I do think that I do need to move on from this car and get into something else, but I don't know when that will be. Why are you so perfect? I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But thank you. I'm gonna ask what everyone wants to know. Why'd you stop filming for Tommy and Rundick? I touched on this already in my previous video, but I know some of you guys probably are still asking the same question. I've gotten probably 25 of those questions sent to me. Main reason why I stopped filming for Tommy and Rundick, they were 2.5 hours from where I live. I had to drive down every week. I would sleep in either the shop on the futon, or I would sleep at Rudnick's house. Rudnick's house has no parking, so if I slept at his house, then I was going to get tickets at night, because in New England, when it snows, there's a parking ban and you can't park on the street. So I kept getting tickets, and sleeping in the shop was not ideal. I'd wake up at 9 a.m. and go to bed at 4 a.m. Just because of working with their different schedules. It wasn't working for me, and I was getting burnt out as a person. So I had to cut ties and get back to what I need to do. I wish that it worked out, because I did enjoy filming for them, but for my health and for my sake, I needed to stop. Miata_MX5 asks, question for someone wanting to get into film and photography, what's the best way to start? It's something that interests me. I just want to make ideas come to a reality. My answer to that would be buy a camera. I would pick up a camera. It doesn't have to be an expensive one. I started on a Nikon D3200. Those cameras start out at, I think, $300 now. Super cheap, super affordable, easy cameras to learn on. You get the basics for photography, even videography if that's where you want to go. But you'll be able to mess around with the camera, learn how to use it, learn different skills and stuff like that, and just experiment with it. Go out, shoot as much as you can, and just have fun with it, and you will love it, I guarantee it. Out of all the cars you've shot, which one was your favorite? I don't know. I have a few favorites. Am I allowed to have a few? One of my favorites would have to be Jimmy's LS1 300ZX. Super clean car, super nice guy. You get the gist. You guys know Jimmy. Second car would probably be my friend Tom's EF sedan, the one with the star exhaust that jumped out of his driveway. Yeah, that one. He's a funny kid with a funny car, and it's just great. Probably the third one would be the wide body S2000, the yellow one that I filmed last summer. That shoot was fun, and the shot that I got with the lightning in the background was on point, and I couldn't have timed it any better myself. So I guess those are my three favorite cars that I have shot so far. How did you meet Jimmy Oakes? All right, well, I talked with Jimmy through social media first. The first time I saw his car was at a Broke East car show in 2016, I believe. Didn't put two and two together until I found his YouTube channel and saw videos of him building the 300ZX, and I was like, oh, that's Jimmy Oakes. Ended up meeting him for the first time. Shoot that I did with the little Miata that could for Haggard when they were still at their old shop location. That was the first time I met Jimmy. Got along with him super well, and then after that we talked more regularly, and then I filmed his 300ZX video, and then after that I filmed his drifting videos, and then I started hanging out with him in shop, and then obviously when I worked with Chris and Tommy I saw him all the time, so the relationship just built up from there. Super nice guy. I wish he lived closer to me. I'd hang out with him every day. He's just like one of those friends that I wish that was always around. How you get your Del Sol and why you got it? I got my Del Sol as my first car when I was in high school. I just needed a first car and I couldn't decide on what I wanted. And at the last second, a kid down the street from me named Josh, he was like, "You want to buy this thing?" I was like, okay. I went down, I looked at it. It needed a lot of work, and I decided to pick it up. I bought it for $1,000, and after that, that's how it went. I drove it through high school, started modifying it. Now that's what this thing is. Will you ever start drifting? Probably not. I'm not a drifter. I don't see myself drifting. I love drifting, but I probably won't do it myself. How much did you originally buy the Ruined Soul for? I bought it for $1,000 flat. He wanted $1,100 for it, but I was able to talk him down to $1,000. Any rear-wheel drive chassis that you would want to mess around with? LS400, like I said. VIP. If I was to do rear-wheel drive, it would probably be an LS400. I just love the way they look, and I would want a VIP one if I had the chance. What did you use to rust the wheels? The same stuff that I used for the entire car. Hydrogen peroxide, vinegar, and table salt. If you mix it all together into a spray bottle and you sand down the metal so that it's bare and you spray it, it'll instantly turn brown and start to rust, and you just rinse and repeat after that and it turns to that. How did your passion for Hondas appear? I didn't have a passion for Hondas until I got the Del Sol and saw how easy and reliable they are to work on, and the parts are cheap and all that stuff. It made me, want to work on them more. As for the Honda community, not a huge fan, but I'll take it with a grain of salt. I do love this car, and I love Hondas and love their simplicity and working on them. And so, what was your purpose for building the Del Sol? I started building it when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I didn't think that it would get to be what it is today. When I bought it, it was spray painted white, and it had multiple layers of Plasti-Dip and spray paint under that, and the quarter panels were gone. They were fully rotted. The rocker panels were gone. I tried saving it. I tried getting the rust cut out and having someone put Bondo in there. Some of it worked and some of it's still on the car, but a lot of it never, actually worked, and the rust came back. And then at that point I realized, why am I sinking all this money into this car that I paid $1,000 for? I should just make what I have work. And so the idea came to rust the car. And so I rusted the whole car, and that idea led to another, which led to another, and it just domino affected to what it is now. And yeah. What exhaust system are you running? It sounds really good. Hopefully I can get a reply, thanks. The exhaust system on this car is straight piped all the way back. There is a resonator. I don't know what kind of resonator it is, but it was on the car when I bought it. I know that the exhaust piping is 2.5 inches all the way back. And the headers are just eBay headers that I got for super cheap. Once again, it's kind of like a budget thing with this car. But yeah, in terms of exhaust, it's just straight piped. It's nothing fancy. What inspired you to start filming and editing? Favorite project to date? I already answered the first question, but my favorite project to date was probably the H2O video. I love how that came out, and a lot of you guys did too, so I'm super pumped about that. I'm excited to make my second H2O video this year, along with a bunch of other videos, so I'm looking forward to 2018. Hardest thing about driving a slammed car daily? I don't drive this daily anymore. I used to, but driving a slammed car has its positives and negatives. Obviously the negatives is hitting everything. You kind of get used to it. You just turn the music up and hope you don't crack your oil pan thing. Thankfully with this car, we shortened the oil pan, so that's no longer an issue in terms of cracking the oil pan. When it still had an automatic transmission in it, the worry was hitting the bottom of the automatic transmission, because that hung even lower than the oil pan. So that was the lowest point of the car. So that was my biggest worry when I was driving this car when it was super low. But now that it has the manual transmission in it that's smaller, the only thing that I really drag is exhaust, which I need to tuck up into the car more. So that's really the hardest thing about driving a slammed car, is just getting used to being okay with hitting everything. What's your wheel specs? All right, well, the front wheels are 16 by 10 with a -12 offset, and the rears are a 16 by 10 as well with a -64 offset. The front wheels, they have an inch spacer, and the rear wheels, they have an 1.5 inch spacer. The front has -5 camber according to the camber arms that I bought off of eBay. Probably has a little bit more than that. The rear has, according to my phone, -18 degrees of camber. Again, that's probably not 100% accurate because it's just with my phone, but it's definitely not -5, and it's definitely not something that you can just buy. We had to modify the rear camber arms and make them shorter to give myself more camber. As for why I like camber, I don't know. I look at it and it just kind of like looks cool to me. I know there's no performance out of it or anything. I know for the front there is, kind of, not unless you're tracking or drifting the car, but yeah, those are my specs. All right, I guess that's it for questions. I checked Facebook, I checked Instagram. I only posted about this an hour ago, so I didn't get too many comments, but I got enough to make this video, so that's cool. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I have a question for you guys though. I want you guys to leave a comment in this video, what you guys want to see in terms of vlog content. The car films and features and show videos will continue to go on. That's not an issue, but in terms of making vlogs and videos about this car and about my other car, I just want to know what you guys want to see. I have ideas, but they're not going to be immediate because of it being winter. It's kind of like hibernation or like build season for us. But unfortunately, I'm pretty much done with this in terms of building it for now. So I just want to see what you guys want to see. So comment down below what you want to see, and we can go from there. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave it a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Push the notification bell so you get every notification when I post, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Now I'm gonna make a thumbnail of me.
Get off your car! Don't be that guy! Don't be that guy! Get off your car! Get off your car! Don't be that guy! Don't be that guy! Don't be that guy! Get off your car! Cars are not for standing on. I hate when people do that. Get off your car! Who do you think you are? Get down from there! You know what happened to the little monkey jumping on the bed? That's only you on the car. Get down! Get down!
I'm done.